5. Caroline lowered her head and summoned all her strength to force a path through the television news crews and rabble of reporters blocking the main entrance of the Department for Education. As she struggled across the final few yards of pavement, digital recorders were shoved at her and journalists shouted questions just inches from her face. Finally, she made it to the revolving doors. The hubbub didn't subside once she was inside. There was a buzz of movement around the reception desk as security staff issued temporary passes to a long line of visitors. She nodded at one of the receptionists, who immediately nudged her colleague. Both women stared at her as she turned away. She fumbled with her security pass at the barrier and headed towards the lifts, keeping her gaze on the floor all the way. She hadn't slept more than a couple of hours all night, and each step was an effort. There was a shout behind her. "Hold up!" Immediately she recognized the security guard's voice and flinched. Ed Wallace caught up with her and timed his steps to match hers. He jabbed her arm with an elbow. "That was a turn-up for the books, wasn't it?" he said. Caroline ignored him and tried to quicken her pace. He lengthened his stride. "I mean, if I'd started my round on the 8th floor and worked my way down," he continued, unabashed, "rather than setting off from the basement going up, or maybe if I hadn't stopped on the 4th to talk to you, wow, who knows? I probably would have been able to save his life. Makes you think, doesn't it?" He blew out a breathy whistle. "Fate, my missus says." They'd reached the lifts. Caroline hit the up button and stepped right back, putting a safe 5 feet between her and Ed and trying to keep an eye on all 6 lifts at the same time, ready to jump into the first one that pinged onto the ground floor. But I reckon he timed it deliberate-like. Ed still hadn't picked up on her body language and ploughed on. "I bet he'd been watching my routine and planned it down to the last second." He shuddered, his huge stomach undulating under the straining buttons of his shirt. To think